Hi, I'm Brad Bennett with Fortress Wealth Architects, and welcome to Perpetual Cash Flow. The purpose of this channel is to help people with the basics and fundamentals that are going to lead to your maximum wealth potential. We all have the goal of creating financial freedom, yet very few people ever actually get there. The reason for that isn't for a lack of opportunity, lack of investments, lack of rate of return. It's a lack of knowledge and understanding of the basic fundamentals that are going to make a much greater difference in your world than an interest rate or a strategy. If we don't have the basic fundamentals in place, it makes it extremely difficult to overcome those shortcomings with some of the other things that we hear so often on TV and everywhere else that tell us that, oh, don't worry about it. You just have to do X, Y, Z, and the rest will take care of itself. There's a reason why Michael Jordan, being the greatest player of all time, was able to accomplish what it was that he did. And it was because of the consistency in focus on the basics and the fundamentals. That way, when game time hit, he didn't have to think about it. It just automatically happened. Your finances are the exact same way. And so as we go through this journey in the process of looking at what is it that's keeping most people from accomplishing their financial freedom, we're going to look at the fundamentals that practiced over and over and over again are going to lead you to default success in your financial goals. And one of the biggest things that I have found that keeps people from accomplishing their financial freedom is their lack of a cash flow structure. We have been taught through a default structure that as soon as we get a paycheck, we have it directly deposited into our checking account. Well, the checking account is a spending account, and we see money come in when we've taken care of the bills and the necessities. If there's extra, we feel okay spending it. It's kind of like a seafood diet. It's the only one I've ever succeeded on. I see food, I eat it. It doesn't matter if I'm full. There's food in front of me. It's going down. Checking account's the exact same way. We see extra cash in the account, something catches our attention, money's out the door. We don't even remember 3 weeks later what it was we even spent that money on. We have a tremendous amount of unconscious spending because of that default structure. Now, when we shift things around and we put a speed bump in between the paycheck and the checking account, now we are acting with intention, and you are architecting your cash flow that moves your financial freedom from the bottom of the food chain to the top of the food chain. You are able to create much more abundance in your life. You are aware of where the money is going. You begin to make changes and choices differently on your own because you see very clearly where it is that you want to get to, how to get there, and now you have the momentum behind you by creating the architecture of your cash flow and the intention behind each step. The second thing that keeps people from accomplishing their ultimate financial freedom are their investment choices. Now, a lot of times we're investing in things not because we understand them or that's what we wanted, but because that's what we were told to do. Now, I don't want to say that retirement accounts are bad. I'm just saying that there may be a better option for many people in what their goals are and what they want to accomplish. There's differences between tax advantaged and tax deferred. When you have an asset that is tax advantaged, it's a deduction on the income that comes off of that asset that they're not going to come back in the future and say, hey, we want the money back. Whereas, for example, the 401k or these retirement accounts, a lot of times people will put additional money into those accounts because the accountant said, hey, I can save you X number of more dollars on your taxes this year if you put this into an IRA. As a result, we dump more money into the IRA. Saved us money on taxes, right? Not so fast. What happens 20 years down the road when you want to spend that money? See, we've deferred a known tax today for something in the future. We don't know what it's going to be. And think of this. You've, at that point in time, hit the pinnacle of your financial success. You have the best lifestyle you've ever enjoyed. You're doing things that you never did previously because of the financial resources. Now you want to spend the money that you deferred the taxes on. But you've also lost your tax deductions. The business is gone. The children are left, moved out. Whatever they may have been, now we're relegated to a very, very few actual deductions that you can take advantage of with the best lifestyle you've ever enjoyed. Likelihood is the tax postponement will cost you more in the future because the taxes are going to go up. The other question is are you creating cash flow with the investment? When you create cash flow off of the investment, whether it comes in on a monthly basis, an annual basis, it doesn't matter. It's taking pressure off of the paycheck. If we take pressure off of the paycheck, you have more that you're able to reinvest. Now you're creating momentum. Life also happens to us. And so when life happens, we don't have an income for a period of time. If you have cash flow assets, they're still going to be bringing money into your world that you wouldn't have had otherwise, making it so that you don't have to raid some of your other assets, like the 401k. I've heard the story so many times that I got laid off, and as a result, I had to go to where I actually had cash available to me. That was my retirement account. Unfortunately, I got hit with a 10% tax penalty because I was too young. Then I got hit with income taxes on top of that. Oh, and the market went down. So what it was worth 6 months ago was not the same as when I needed to use it. As a result, I only got a fraction of the account. We need to avoid those sorts of things whenever possible and create resources along the way that give you accessibility to liquid capital without penalty, without taxes, so that we smooth out the bumps along the way of life. Number 3 is control. Do you have control over your resources? When we utilize certain investment vehicles, we give up control, and we don't have a way of getting that control back without severe penalty. One of the big things that people have throughout their life is they have a greater need of financing than they do of sometimes protection and some of these other things that we see along the way. Perfect example of this was over the last several years, we've seen interest rates go up dramatically. I can't tell you how many phone calls I've received from clients saying, so you remember everything that we've been putting together. You told me it was liquid. You told me I had access to it. That is correct. Can I buy a car with that asset? Yes, you can. Why would you want to do that? Now, I already knew why they wanted to do it, and it was because of interest rates, but I wanted to hear them say it. Well, they want to charge me 8%, 9% on this vehicle loan. If I utilize what we've created, what's my interest? It's 5%. Great, let's do it. Okay, here's the payment that you will have if you utilize this resource. What was the payment that you would have had from the dealership? So you're saving $100, $150 a month. We don't always think about that as a return on an asset or an investment, but what it has done is multiple things. One, it reduced your outflow. It took pressure off of the paycheck. 2, it saved you finance charges. That is a true rate of return on an investment because you're not shelling out additional cash to buy the things that you need. Over the course of 5 to 7 years, depending upon how they've structured it, they're saving $5,000 to $10,000 on vehicle purchases that they wouldn't have had a choice for otherwise. So as we look at how everything is structured, the question is, have you put yourself into greater control of your finances, or have you lost control of it? Are you at the mercy of banks? Are you at the mercy of Wall Street? Are you at the mercy of the government? Have you put yourself at the mercy based upon your structure, or have you taken complete control and you get to move fluidly as to what is going to be the best for you and your family? The 4th thing is if something happens to you today, will your plan self-complete? Or are you going to leave your spouse and your kids in a bind? What I mean by that is if you get hit by a bus and you're gone tomorrow, do your kids still get to go to college the way they would have otherwise? Do they still get to go on vacation? Do they still get to participate in sports or whatever the extracurricular activity is after school? Or now, does your spouse have to leave the home to go work? And that's less time for parenting and time with the kids. That is less income. So maybe the extracurricular activities are now off the table. We may have lost vacations. We might have to make different choices on higher education. Is that what you want to leave behind, or do you want to plan that into the structure? And so as we go through these fundamentals, we're really creating a fortress, and that is why it's Fortress Wealth Architects. We are building from the ground up to create a wealth fortress that, regardless of some of these things that happen in life, your plan self-completes, or you are protected from the storms that come when they come. Not if, when. We've all had those emergencies in our life. And as we go through and we hit those fundamentals and we work on those basics, all of a sudden you are now in more control. You're capturing more of what it is that you create, that you're able to create perpetual motion with. And that's why it's perpetual cash flow that we name the channel. So welcome to the show. I look forward to seeing you in the future as we discuss different topics, work on different fundamentals. If you have questions, please leave a comment. If there's things that you want to dive into with more information, breaking it down into bits and pieces, leave that in the comments as well. We look forward to seeing you next time.